The topic I'm talking on is protecting big brands, compliance lessons for everyone. And we'll be digging through a bit about the affiliate manager's role and how it sort of differs from elsewhere in the marketing organization, what our experience, what we've seen that big brands do in managing and protecting themselves, and then a fairly long list of things that affect big brands, but also affect small brands as well. And we'll use a few examples of what those look like so you can know what to look for as you're working through your program. And to a large extent, the affiliate manager's role is really a little bit of everything. You have to understand email and content marketing and loyalty and paid search and incentive marketing and coupons and sponsorships and pretty much every form of online marketing that there is. And this isn't because you're expected to do those things, but it's because your affiliates do those things. And to a large extent, the promise of affiliate marketing, or one of the promises of affiliate marketing, is that you're, as a brand, able to tap into the expertise of a whole host, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of experts out there, and do things that you yourself can't necessarily do, or your organization can't do. But as an affiliate manager, you kind of need to know what all of these things are and how that they work. Not only that, you have to understand the differences between what's happening on desktop and mobile and how things are playing out in the offline world. Oftentimes, your affiliates are working in multiple countries in different languages. They have their own promotional partners, their own sub-affiliates. You'll hear that term referenced a whole bunch. Not only that, they change what they do. It's very rare that you find one thing that works forever. We've seen a lot of affiliates evolve over time. Affiliate sites change owners. Affiliate accounts change owners. So the thing that an affiliate's doing today, the person that you met at Affiliate Summit, could be a different person and a different technique down the road. Not only that, a small number of these affiliates can be intentionally deceptive. The really skilled affiliates can manipulate just about everything that you see. So I'd like to call this the hardest job in marketing because you have to know every aspect of marketing to really understand what's happening within an affiliate program. So as we have worked with large and small brands, I think I've really come to believe that the size of the brand doesn't matter. There's two categories of abuse that we kind of see happen within the industry. The first is unintentional abuse, and these are just like accidental things that happen as the nature of affiliates being affiliates, of promoting your brand and doing the things that affiliates do when they promote your brand. And then there's a second, much smaller category, and I think it often gets blown up into an outsized proportion how big of a category it is, but there's a small number of abusive publishers, and they work across the sides of the brand. We've seen them develop techniques on small brands, and when they get really good at it and they know that it works, they'll go after a larger opportunity with a bigger brand. And similarly, we've seen affiliates that have taken successful techniques that they've applied to big brands, and as those big brands have evolved and recognized the techniques and improved their defenses and monitoring of it, then extend them to less well-protected brands. And that's certainly a theme that we've kind of seen throughout the industry, is that a lot of affiliates look for a lot of the deceptive affiliates, these are the much smaller affiliates, look for the brands with the least protection where it's easiest to make money. And the size doesn't really matter, because if they're doing it on one large brand, they have a lot more at risk than if they're conducting the same abuse on 10, 15, 20 smaller brands. So who am I, and why do I sort of have some claim to what's happening? So I run BrandVerity. 4 of the 5 largest online retailers use BrandVerity to protect their brands. We provide 2 services, paid search and content monitoring. And our tools are used on behalf of thousands of brands. Similarly, I also chair the PMA Compliance Council, where we work on some industry-wide perspectives, educational materials, things that we sort of help share out what's going on. And I'll reference some of that in the talk. So the keys to compliance that big brands don't know. I tend to think about compliance along three dimensions: policy, process, and technology. Policy is how you decide what you want in your program, what you want to allow, and how you interact with them as an organization. Process is how you as the affiliate manager or you as the organization manage that policy and interact with affiliates. And then technology, the tools and things that you use to support and enhance your policies. I'm not really going to touch on technology at all, and so I'm going to focus on policy and process, with really most of the focus on process itself. So policy. Policy starts at the affiliate agreement. I'm sure most of you know by now that you can actually set up a program without ever putting in any custom terms and conditions. Each network has their own agreement that affiliates agree to, and those agreements have various standards that they require that affiliates adhere to. Every big brand that we've seen, we even did a survey of all of the top 500 the top Internet Retailer 500 brands, has a set of custom terms and conditions. If you don't have your own set of terms and conditions, I strongly suggest that you work on developing them. We put out a resource at the PMA, within the PMA Compliance Council, that walks through a lot of the major considerations that you need to put into the publisher agreement. So here's the URL. You can get the slides afterwards and go look that up. That's a great place to start. The guide is free to PMA members. There's a nominal fee if you're not a member, but it's also going to be released for a limited period free in the next couple months as we go through a round of updates. So if you're not a PMA member and want to wait for it to go, if you're not a PMA member, go become one. But if you want to wait until it goes for release, you can hold off for a little bit. As you think and look at your agreement, pay special attention to these 4 things. There's a much longer list in the guide, but transparency requirements is a big one. One of the brands that we work with, or one of the agencies that we work with, has some standard language that they put in their agreements that requires the affiliate to respond deeply and thoroughly with transparency around how they're promoting the brand. This is and if the affiliate chooses not to do that, that allows them to terminate the relationship. This is a really, really important aspect of the agreement, because with a number of these affiliates that are working across channels, and some who prefer to remain somewhat vague about what they do, that particular requirement can really give you something with teeth to deeply understand what's actually happening. Software, lots of bad things can happen with software. It can be hard to test for and hard to monitor. So make sure that you've got language that talks about what's allowable and what's not allowed. Your page search rules, we frequently see these agreements written in a way that isn't clear with what is actually required on the part of the affiliate, and that leaves open for dispute. I think the intentions are often there, but the language isn't super clear. And then disclosure requirements, particularly if you operate in a regulated industry, make sure you've got clarity around who discloses what and who's responsible for those disclosures. A number of the FTC actions recently have come down hard on the brands themselves, not the affiliates who weren't disclosing, but on the brands themselves for not requiring that their affiliates actually disclose in a clear and conspicuous way their relationship to the brand, and the fact that it was a paid relationship. So robust processes, I think, are one of the cornerstones of effective management. And one of my favorite things is checklists, and we see these used pretty extensively in large brands and in skilled program managers. And they'll use them to as they conduct the review of the affiliate, as they walk through the first application, what are the things they're looking for? Have they checked this? Have they checked that? Do they know that this thing is working? It can be really easy to forget to check Alexa or similar sites or some of these tools that give you some visibility beyond what the affiliate application might show. So checklists, I think, are a key component. You want to be using those as you review initial applications, and then you want to be conducting periodic reviews of affiliates, particularly your top performers, and then some smattering of the folks throughout there to make sure you understand exactly how they work. And you should also have a set of anomaly triggers. So each program is going to have a set of statistics that reflects what normal is, and whenever something falls outside of a standard div or so of that normalness, it usually is a trigger for at least looking more deeply. It doesn't necessarily mean that something's bad going on, but you want to be able to dig in and understand it better. So what are some things to kind of watch out for? I'm going to go through all of these in a little bit, next in the presentation, so I'm not going to touch all of them here. But there's a whole host of things that we frequently see brands getting tripped up on, either intentionally or unintentionally. Paid search abuse is certainly a very common one. There's 2 types of abuse that I think happen. They tend to be a mix of intentional and unintentional. The first is URL hijacking. And so this is an example here of an ad that looks like Microsoft's own ad, but it was actually, they even have site links and all that, but it was actually placed by an affiliate. and they're bidding on one of Microsoft's own terms, buy Windows 10. There are affiliates that promote brands. They kind of function like the brand search agency, and they use the affiliate channel to help them track and basically get paid for that work. That's not the type of activity I'm describing here. This is sort of the activity where it's happening without authorization. So an affiliate there's nothing that stops any given person, for that matter, or an affiliate from going to Google, creating an AdWords account, and begin buying ads pertaining to the Microsoft Store. So when a user clicks this ad, they have high buy intent. They said they want to buy Windows 10. They're probably going to go make a purchase. They run through an affiliate link, and they end up on the Microsoft Store site, and naturally they'll get paid for that transaction. It doesn't cost them very much because it's a very directed brand search. There's not a lot of competition for a search term like this. And similarly, they'll replace the brand's own ad. So the brand is running an ad as well. Microsoft Store does run ads on terms buy Windows 10, but the nature of how Google selects to display an ad has selected this ad, probably because of the bid structure, over Microsoft's own ad. And this ends up costing a heck of a ton more for Microsoft than otherwise. Similarly, some of the more experienced affiliates do a whole bunch of work to make this hard to find. They reverse geo-target, so they know Microsoft sits in Seattle, so does the paid search agency for the Windows Store. So they run their ads everywhere but Seattle, or maybe everywhere but Washington State. I think this particular ad was found in Texas somewhere and wasn't running in Washington, or at least that I could see from my desk in Seattle. The second category revolves around trademark plus terms, and basically think about the search your brand plus coupon or your brand plus review. Those can be very great terms for an affiliate to target, and if those aren't allowed, invariably you'll find some ads popping up there that you kind of want to monitor and look out for. Unauthorized coupon codes is another category of abuse that we see quite commonly. And basically, if you use coupons in your business to any extent, you're likely to find that those codes leak across channels. So maybe it's an email code or a friends and family code or something that you sent in direct mail. Invariably, a consumer or sometimes the affiliate, they know to look for these things, will find those codes and place them directly on their site. Perhaps adding an additional cost to a transaction that is already going to occur, or on top of the affiliate link and the affiliate commission and the coupon commission, or sometimes just not working, and that can create a pretty bad experience for users as well. Toolbars, browsers, helpers, software. There's this giant category, and I think we're seeing it used quite increasingly often, of affiliates with software techniques. Networks vary very widely with what they allow software to do. Some networks like ShareSale largely don't allow software at all. Other networks require that publishers disclose the software that they use and how they use it, and still other networks that just don't require any special reflection of it at all. The software can do a whole bunch of stuff. It's basically something installed on the user's machine. It can modify, and we've seen examples, and there certainly are plenty of them, that modify the search results. Maybe they'll highlight, maybe they'll put in one of their links, maybe they'll replace ads. We've seen them certainly trigger on your site. These 4 examples are all programs that triggered when a user visited with the software installed, a user visited this particular merchant's website. So banners pop up over, things drop down, these things that your designers would be really unhappy to see happening on your site if they knew that it was the user's experience. So there's usually with software and an affiliate that's promoting software, if you know that they have it, the first thing I recommend is go find a copy of it, download it, install it, even before you allow them into your program, and go browse the web a bit. Figure out which other merchants are in the program, do a bunch of searches, crawl around a bit, and go visit the websites of the retailers or the advertisers that are in the program, and to see what it does. You'll get a good sense for how that might impact your user's experience, and then you can make a decision around whether that's something that you want or not. There's also a class of toolbars and browser helpers that work invisibly to what you might see. And what will happen is a user will install it, maybe knowingly, maybe unknowingly. It gets bundled in some way, shape, or form, and they go visit your site. And what the software does is it intercepts that request, injects an affiliate request, and suddenly that user is now a cookied user and is going to get paid. That affiliate's going to get paid for any transaction that happens. So generally speaking, you want to be super investigative when you have an affiliate that's using software and figure out whether there's something that you want in your program. DNS and link rewriters. I'm grouping these together because I think fundamentally they kind of function in the same way. They take a DNS request or a link found on the web writ large and overwrite them with an affiliate link. So my ISP in Seattle is Quest at the moment, and whenever I do a search for, or basically make a request for Amazon.com in the browser bar, the DNS provider that Quest uses has partnered with an affiliate that intercepts that request and inserts an affiliate link. And so now every purchase I make in that session gets credited with the affiliate link. These are things that are very hard to see unless you're on the network. Typically, to partner with someone like Quest, there's good disclosure in the affiliate application, but make sure you're reading and understanding really carefully what the affiliate is doing, because I would argue that behavior is likely, it's the definition of non-incremental, which I think the prior speaker a couple of sessions ago touched on, is that it's going to happen anyway. The link rewriters fit the same category. So they'll take existing links and that are giving you great SEO benefit, doing all sorts of good things, sending users to your site, and overwrite them with affiliate cookies, or with affiliate links that drop cookies. So if everyone's familiar with Reddit, they just made a big change, and that change has begun putting affiliate links in the existing, all of the Reddit links that go to a merchant site. It's happened with tinyURL. Pinterest experimented with it and then backed down. And I think in the last 6 or 9 months or so, maybe it's a year, I'm not sure, Bitly has chosen to take the millions and millions and millions of Bitly links that are out there, and if any of them are commissionable links, overwrite them with affiliate. So those are on blogs. There are merchants that have used tinyURL and Bitly on their own blogs, linking back to their own site, and now they're paying an affiliate for that traffic. So these are things to watch out for. You'll see them and typically see them in applications, but not always. It's something to keep an eye on. Adware and PPV. There are a lot of adware providers out in the meat market and tomorrow in the exhibit hall, adware/PPV providers. And the way they effectively operate, the adware providers get some software installed on the machine. It can happen any number of ways. It could come from a screensaver. It could, as a prank, someone once installed a screensaver on my machine, and it came with adware and Trojans and all sorts of terrible stuff. It can also get bundled with, like to unlock a game or to play something without cost or something like that. There might be adware that gets installed, and that adware is connected to a pay-per-view network. And the folks who are advertising pay-per-view impressions. They effectively offer a way for an advertiser or an affiliate, as the case might be, to purchase a pop-up on the user's machine whenever a user visits a particular site, URL, does a search, something like that. And the easiest low-hanging place to target is for an affiliate, at least, is to go target your checkout URL. And so once a user is deeply in the process throughout the checkout page, the software, the affiliate will have configured that particular URL to trigger the request, and the software itself will function and throw up a pop-up. Your site opens up in a brand new window, A, interrupting the user experience, B, making the user think that you bought the pop-up, and then C, dropping an affiliate cookie. So if the user completes the transaction, the affiliate gets paid directly for it. This is, I think, hard to monitor. Most networks disallow this activity and police it directly. As you're selecting your network and having a conversation, you should ask them what their policy is and how they look at it and what they monitor, to make sure that once affiliates are identified with that behavior, that they're removed from the network or otherwise not allowed from your program. Or again, some networks also allow them to put in their application that they do that. So that's another thing to kind of look out for as you see those applications. Namespace abuse. Twitter, Facebook accounts, fake accounts, typo domain names, stuff like that. I think you probably have all seen one form or the other. I think the most important thing worth identifying about namespace abuse is make sure it's forbidden in the affiliate agreement, because if it's not, and an affiliate applies to your program and tells you that they have a typo domain and you allow them in, you've just authorized them to use that typo domain to make money. And there's been some court cases that have shown that it's you can't recover that domain name through a number of the easily recoverable methods like UDRP and so on. So there's a whole category of stuff out there. Usually there's also legitimate affiliates who sort of do preemptive buys and things like that, but make sure you're reading through the applications. So as you're reading through affiliate applications, not all of the things that we just described will be disclosed in the application. Believe it or not, they are often disclosed, and you can often either see it on the application or see it on the affiliate's website or see it in there, but there's no guarantee that you'll be told that those things are going to happen. Oftentimes, we see applications that look a lot like this. We call them front websites. They're websites that have thin or very non-original content, but are otherwise used to get into your program so they can then conduct whatever abuse that they want to do. So this is an example of a template that's been used a bunch, but in general you're looking for things that look thin, that you can't quite believe they're actually websites. So when an affiliate applies, or when you go through a trigger and you're trying to understand it more deeply, there's a bunch of things that I highly recommend that you evaluate. Obviously understand the promotional methods, like go visit the website, have a conversation with the affiliate, convince yourself why a user gets to this site, why in the world someone would end up there. And if you can't convince yourself, it's probably not there. Examine changes in key stats, so sales, conversion rates, traffic, investigate abnormal stats. We talked about the triggers earlier on. So anything where conversion rates run above 8% in a retail site, I would argue, should absolutely be investigated. It's going to differ by your program, the type of thing they're promoting, but sort of make sure you understand what normal is and what abnormal is, and deeply understand when something's abnormal, why. There can be good reasons, there can be a lot of bad reasons as well. Understand blank referring URLs. Whenever an affiliate sends traffic to you and doesn't include a referring URL, it typically happens because they've made a decision not to. And that's because they're trying not to disclose something about where they're doing what they're doing, or maybe some other reason, but understand why. And then this is where you want to lean on that transparency request on the part of the affiliate, like understand and ask deeply what they're trying to do. And then beware of conversion from thin sites with low traffic. So I like election similar sites a lot. Those are super useful tools. Similar sites has got a view into the data that shows where else a visitor visited on the web. So you can see, perhaps they're coming from Google or something like that. Alexa can show where a visitor visited prior to reaching that site. And so if you see a lot of visitors from a sketchy place or a legitimate place that the advertiser hasn't disclosed, you should be able to relate that back to how they're actually promoting you. So what would I suggest doing today? I think this is my last slide here. So when you get back to your hotel room, search your brand. Do this whenever you travel. I think it gives you a really good sense take a couple of your key brand terms, do a bunch of searches, just to give you a good sense if there's anybody sitting on your keywords that shouldn't be, that may have geo-targeted around what they know about you and where you are. And then this week, review your affiliate agreement. I can't state it enough how important it is that you get that dialed in really well to reflect what you actually want out of your affiliates and your brand. And do a deep dive in your top 10 affiliates. As you're probably going to meet a bunch of them this week. Ask them how they get their users, where the users come from, what happens, what they do to get a user to come to your site. And, you probably understand a bunch of it because a few of them are probably going to be coupon sites or something similar. But it can never hurt to go more deeply and understand, or even get in the practice with affiliates that you understand of really understanding how to ask the questions to get at what they do. So with that, thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer questions. Okay, well, I will be around for a little bit longer. If you have a question, feel free to come up and grab me. I also am supposed to remind you to fill out your feedback form. Affiliate Summit definitely uses these to help select content and figure out what's useful. And similarly, like I'll use them to figure out whether a presentation had the right content or not. So please write and share. Oh, sorry, question? Go for it.
When is your next session? You're going to dive a little bit deeper, did you say?
This was the this was the deep dive. So I was referring to a little bit later in the talk.
Oh, okay.
But if you, I'm happy to drill down into something if you have specific questions you wanted to go more deeply, for sure. Yes.
Did you mention that these slides would be available?
Yes, the question was, are the slides available? Yes, they'll be available. They get distributed after the show. And then I'll also, I mean, if you want to grab my card, I'm happy to email them to you after as well. Great. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.